Hello and welcome inside the Parlay Studios, and the man to my right is Harley Redlick, sharp as picks. You know what that means. Class is in session. So grab a pen and paper, get ready to take some notes because you're going to learn something. Harley, the last time you were in here, you gave us a winner again. The under in the All-Star game. How do you keep doing it, man?
Try to do my homework. Try not to get too high when I'm winning, not too low when I'm losing, which will tie in nicely, I think, to some of the things we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. Your strategy and the knowledge is fantastic, and I think that's great for this chat today. A bit of a betting 101. I think for the novice bettor, I think they need to know certain things because for a long time I was a novice bettor. I just went into betting games that I liked and teams that I liked with really no strategy. I didn't know what value was, and that's where I want to start. What is value, and how do you find it?
Value is any time you're getting a better price than you think is right on the bet. So if you're looking at a team that you think is going to win 40% of the time and you can get anything better than plus 150 odds, you're making profit. So if it's plus 160 and you think a team's going to win 40% of the time, you're grinding it out. Now, this is over the long term, and this takes a long time. You're usually finding the value on the ugly teams, the underdogs. So the famous saying that everybody laughs about when it comes to me is, I'm zigging when they're zagging, etc.
Yeah.
But the idea is, if everybody's hot on the Blue Jays tonight because they just swept Boston, and now they're hosting a Cardinals team without Goldschmidt and Arenado, and people overdo it one way, the market knows that Goldschmidt and Arenado aren't playing. The market knows they're St. Louis's two best players.
That research is in the numbers.
And if anything, it's overcompensated because they know the bettors are kind of superficial, like to bet the favorites. So the value's usually on the underdogs, on the ugly underdogs, almost the uglier, the better.
Can there be value found in favorites minus money?
Rarely do you see it. Is it possible with a small favorite? Yes. Some pros will tell you, yes, for sure there's value in favorites. Look at Mayweather when he fought McGregor or something.
Right.
But of course you look at them and be like, what the f***? That happened 7 years ago and you're still talking about it. Generally speaking, the value is in ugly teams, which are the dogs. Yes, sometimes in baseball, you get a good home team minus 115 or minus 120 with an awesome ace playing against the Yankees with a bad pitcher, and the minus 120 is value. But for the most part, you're taking dogs.
Yeah, I bet a lot of soccer in Manchester City in the Premier League is always minus 250, minus 300, if not bigger sometimes. And I would say 90% of the time almost, they do end up winning. It's just the fact that
they're not winning 90% of the time.
Probably
minus
not.
350, they're winning 75% of the time. They are winning the majority of the time, but I mean...
You can't lay that.
The problem with laying that is if you lay minus 400, teams have to win 80% of the time, and it's hard to win 80% of the time, and when they win 75% of the time or 77%, and then you lose your bets. Think about it. Mm-hmm. To win $1,000, you got to risk $4,000. Like, you're risking a lot to win a little bit, and the math just doesn't add up over time.
You need that endless cash flow, which doesn't exist for most of us. Let's talk about, continue talking about finding value. Line shopping. Look, there's different odds at different books, right?
So this is very helpful in a market like Ontario where there's a lot of sports books. You can find the best price on your team or the best price on your prop bet. These are great. I'm not a huge prop bettor, but if you're a prop bettor, you'll often find something like rebounds in the NBA where most places are at 6.5 and you could get 7.5. And if you're betting the under, 7 rebounds. If you think about a distribution chart, the rebound range is between like 4 and 10 for most of these guys. And getting that one extra rebound hits so often, it's so important and so helpful, especially, like I said, if you're a big prop bettor.
And also with different sports books, there's going to be bonuses and promotions, which bettors can take advantage of, right?
Bonuses and promotions are huge. Who doesn't like a deal? Who doesn't like a sale? Especially when books launch. When the NFL season hits or March Madness or the playoffs and they're all running promos and they're all competing with each other, capitalize on it. Get the best prices at the best places. Get the bonuses when you can. You'll also get a chance to check out users' experiences at a lot of different places. Some of them are phenomenal. Some of the text somehow looks like an Atari game from the 1980s.
It's bad. There's some bad books out there. We're not going to mention those right now.
No.
With those bonuses and promotion, you can really build up that bankroll.
Yes, you can.
But you got to be able to manage that bankroll.
You
right?
better be able to manage.
Okay, why is it important? And explain to us how to do it, because for someone like me, in the past, I've gone on, you go on these mini heaters, as most bettors do, and then you start betting bigger and bigger. Then you lose, and you're trying to play catch up. Next thing you know, you're back to zero.
So I want every bettor out there to decide, do you really want to make a go at this, or are you doing this for fun?
Right.
If you want to make a go out of this, you can't be betting more than, say, 2 to 5% of your bankroll per bet, because there is fluctuations and there is volatility. And I mean, you need a bankroll north of $100,000, because you got to bet $2,000 a game, because then you're only making about a 3% edge, which is only $60 a game. And if you're betting 500 games a year, that's still only $30,000 of profit. So you need a huge bankroll. For casual guys, you want to stay in the game and you want to have fun. You still shouldn't be betting more than you can afford. I mean, if you're willing to play for the NFL season for $500, you should still only be betting $50 a game max, because there's going to be ups and downs. And you don't want to go through a 6-game losing streak and then thinking you're due and lay it all on Monday night and some crazy shit happens and you're bust and you're like, how did that happen to me? Like, that's bad news, guys.
So that's where tilting comes in. And not tilting, because it's easy to do. You go on a bit of a cold streak and you're like, dude, this is ridiculous.
Don't tilt.
Easy to say, though, right?
Okay, so
easy to say.
It's easy to say. You make your money off of other people's tilt. That's poker philosophy for me, 101. You want to be a good live poker player? All you got to do is keep your cool when you're down, because when your opponents are down, you hammer them because they're vulnerable. And in sports, you're not due because you lost 5 games in a row. Think about it. If you bet the Red Sox on Friday and then again on Saturday and then again on Sunday, and now you think you're due, so you're going to bet against the Jays tonight or you're going to bet for the Jays tonight, it's not like the gambling gods and everybody that's going to show up at the Dome knows, well, Albert lost 4 games in a row, so clearly he's due for a win tonight. Like, it's all nonsense. So pressing and stuff like that.
It's the head games with betting too, right? The head games are
I was going to bet this and I was going to bet that.
I was on that one and I deleted.
Why did I delete my bet?
Why did I listen to my wife?
I got a phone call. You're blaming the wife for it. You're not even married yet.
I know.
You're blaming the wife.
Right?
Why take responsibility?
I totally forgot where I was going to go, but parlays, that's where I want to go. How does a sharp bettor, professional bettor, feel about parlays?
Okay,
because the novice loves it.
Novices like it because they're fish and they suck. I would say parlays are good in 2 circumstances. I love correlated parlays. So correlated parlays mean anytime where the result of one event impacts the results of the other event. Right. So I'm a big fan of the home under and baseball parlay, because they're not priced properly in the books. And anytime the home team wins in baseball, odds are there's no bottom of the ninth. So you save a half inning of runs, which helps you in certain situations, obviously. If you bet under 8.5 and the home team's winning 5-3 or 6-2, there's no bottom of the ninth, where if there was, that would hurt you. Second time I like parlays is just cheap, fun entertainment, which at the end of the day, this is for 99+% of listeners. And that, I mean, it's an NFL Sunday. Have fun with your wife, your kids, your father, or anybody else. Bet $5, bet 8 teams to win, and whatever. It'll pay 200 to 1, and you could win $1,000 for your $5. And if you win the $1,000, you can decide to book a 4-day all-inclusive on Expedia to 3-star. We should get Expedia or a Mexican 3-star to sponsor this for all these promos.
On location, that'd be fantastic. Okay, finally, before I get you out of here, in-game betting is becoming very popular, and you mentioned this before we came on air, in Europe especially, betting in-game. Is that something that you would suggest a novice bettor to do?
Novice bettors, be careful. The issue with in-game is you can bet and you can bet and you can bet and you can bet, and bankroll management could be eliminated. I like in-game because I find that casual bettors make a mistake in-game. So you mentioned Europe, big favorites like Man City. They go down 1-0, and all of a sudden they went from being minus 350 to pick them to win the game. And guys love hammering Man City. I love doing the opposite. The other team is up 1-0. They're probably playing better, and all of a sudden you can get better than even money that Man City doesn't outscore them by 2 goals, which is a lot in a soccer game. Again, you zag when everybody else is zigs.
Yeah. Quickly, let's end on that, actually. Fading the public, right? Because if we go back a couple weeks to the Jays against Kansas City were missing 10 players because of their ineligibility to play here because of their vaccination status. Everybody was on the Jays.
Ridiculous.
And what happened? KC won.
KC won game 1. I mean, the Jays did win 3 out of 4.
They did.
And the truth is, that's what they should have won in that series if you looked at the
So
pricing
it's
and laying the money.
It's fading the public at times a really good strategy.
Fading the public goes hand in hand with betting the ugly teams. It's pretty much what you're doing for value. Basically, if you walk into a bar, you walk into a sports book, or you talk to a bunch of people and they all like betting on a certain team, the value is the other way.
Always find the value. He's been Harley Redlick, Sharp Edge Picks. Follow him on Twitter. I hope you had enough pen and paper because there's a lot to write down there. Make sure you tune in every week. We'll be sitting down, breaking down everything revolving around sports betting.